Based on the listed poll that I had on my community tab, it looks like you guys love thrift flips the most. So here you go, my top 40 thrift flips everyday home decor mega video. I hope you will enjoy. There is so many beautiful flips. Hello my darlings, I am C and this is CJ DIY. Wooden vintage handbag, and we're gonna transform it into beautiful high-end home decor. After I remove all those hinges, I'm gonna paint it over. I'm using 2 good coats of ivory chalk paint. I got this paint from Home Depot. They have those paints on clearance, and I bought this paint for like 50 cents, believe it or not. It's like a sample mini containers, and they always have some paints on clearance, so you better check it out. Now that a handbag or a box is nice, dry, and painted, I am using IOD transfers. I'm going through pages and see which of those flowers gonna match perfect, and simple as that, I am adding those transfers on my bag, and that's it for this flip. As you're watching me working on the transfers, I would like to say thank you so much for stopping by and always giving me lots of love and the best comments. And as you can see, I've been making so many creations and I couldn't believe there was more, but I selected the top 40 flips, and I hope you're gonna love each and every one as much as I love all of them. The secret and the beautiness from those IOD transfers is we can layer them on top of one that we did, and we can make just a beautiful art piece combining them together. And that's it. I put the handles back. I also added a clear wax to seal it and to give a more nicer texture to it, and it looks gorgeous. I am in love with this piece. Let me know, what do you think? Glass vase from thrift store and 2 glass candle holders, and look how dirty they were. I only paid $4 for the candles and $2 for the vase. After I cleaned it well, and also I washed off that silver from the stand from the vase, I'm gonna add some IOD transfers on this glass set, and it's gonna look gorgeous. Sometimes if you like to make over something old and bring it back to new life, you can just give a little detail to it and it's gonna look just upgraded and perfect for a home decor or for a resale or as a gift. And just me adding these IOD transfers on the candle holders and on the vase is just perfect throughout the whole year home decor as a centerpiece. To seal the glass with the transfers, I use Rust-Oleum spray crystal clear enamel, and now when they're all nice and dry, I'm putting them back to the metal holders that they came with it, and they're ready to be decorated. For the candle holders, I'm adding clear crystals from Dollar Tree on the bottom, and we're gonna fill out those candle holders with a water, and we're gonna add some floating candles inside of them. And look how beautiful they look. I am in love with those pieces. Let me know, what do you think? For those curtain drapery scones, we're gonna make a nice book ends. Those curtain scones going very high. If you go to a high-end stores, you're gonna see them going up from $20 some, and you can always find pieces like this at the thrift store just for a couple of dollars. All I did is just give a 2 good coats with some chalk paint and added a clear wax around them, and ready to go for a bookshelf. Just a perfect decorative piece. For wood log planter, all I'm gonna do is I'm adding some styrofoam that I got from my packages. Do not throw those styrofoams if you have them in your house. They're helping when you're creating a beautiful floral centerpieces. So I'm just cutting the edges in the shape of this log, and I'm gonna add it inside of my planter, and I'm gonna fill it out with some moss and some succulents, and it's just a perfect beautiful planter for our home decor. I got those succulents from Dollar Tree, but you can always find them at any crafter stores. I also added those blue flowers just to have like a mixture of all those succulents and all those beautiful colors together, and I think this looks just so beautiful. Let me know, what do you think? To match my fall wood log planter, I'm also adding those wood cart holders. I got those from Kirkland's on clearance. They were just for a couple of dollars. I added a flower, and look at this beautiful centerpiece for our home. Those planters, believe it or not, I only pay $1 for each of them. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna heavy distress them with the chalk paint. I'm still using the same chalk paint that I got from Home Depot that I only pay 50 cents for it. And I'm just going over until I got the full coverage. Not the full coverage, I want the original color to pick through, and all those beautiful embellishments, vintage look. And when they're all nice and dry, we're gonna make them over into olive tree planters. I'm gonna add foams inside of the planters. I just wanna see first how they're gonna look. And I got those olive branches from Michael's from clearance, and I'm gonna add some foam inside of it. I'm gonna add some moss, and simple as that, we're gonna have a nice beautiful olive tree planters for our home. If you go to Pottery Barn, one full potted olive tree goes for $499. Can you believe that? And we got ours just for a couple of dollars. There is not a lot of difference. I even think that our planters look much better than a Pottery Barn. Let me know, what do you think? I also, to make my planter, my branches more sturdy, I'm gonna tie them together because I'm adding 3 branches on each planter. And I fill out the planter with the shopping bags on top of the foam, and I'm gonna add some moss to cover it, and that's it. I found this beautiful large basket with this metal holder, and I believe this is like a fireplace wood holder, but we're gonna make it over and we can have anything that we like for a storage, like a books, blankets, floral. I mean, it's such a beautiful piece that we can add in our home decor. I didn't want my whole wood to be covered because I like the color of it, so I'm just distressing it, going around all those edges. And when it's all nice and covered, all I'm gonna do is just add some wax to it just to seal it, and simple as that. And I only pay, I believe, like $2.50 for it, and we're gonna have a nice beautiful piece. To add more beauty to this beautiful basket, I'm adding one of those IOD transfers so we can get that beautiful French country look. And I love this piece. Such a simple and easy makeover, and it's just perfect. Like I mentioned, I'm adding this glaze around the edges to seal it and to give more beautiful look to it. And that's it for this makeover. Those modern leather full magazine baskets goes for $85 and up, and I found mine for $2 and some change, I believe. So I'm gonna make it over just a little bit. I'm adding another IOD transfers after I clean it well and added some leather lotion to it, and simple as that, our beautiful basket is done, and look how beautiful it looks. Now it's time to make over some old furniture. I got this large jewelry box. After I clean it and sand it well, we're gonna make a makeover. Kasia from Redesigned Prima, she's making a beautiful makeover furniture, and I was motivated by her. What I did is I sent everything out before I apply some paints on it. Super beautiful makeover. I'm adding all those different colors that you're seeing on the screen and covering the old colors to it first. I think this one was like a French linen, I believe. I'm not sure. Going over until it's all fully covered. Now that the whole pieces are covered with the paint, look at all that mess that I made in my garage. I'm gonna do applying a couple of different colors, just going over with my distressing brush. Doesn't need to be perfect, we just need to add some touch of the paints. And look at all those, like a lilac, blue, turquoise, whatever colors I get in my stack from Folkart, going over and covering it all. I'm also adding some touch of vintage gold to it to get more rich look and vintage shabby chic look to it. And you can always have some fun adding more colors and more paints to it, and it's gonna look more richer look. Maybe this is not your style, you can always leave one color to it, but since this is a large jewelry box, I think these beautiful colors just brought perfect happy look to it. I'm also adding some design Prima Trabon transfers to it, and I'm just going to see which of those flowers I'm going to be using and where I'm going to position them before I apply the transfers. I will have the links for all those design transfers if you like to purchase them and have fun with them for your home decor, because I am in love with Ravon transfers. If you watch my channel for a while, you can see that I've been using those transfers, IOD transfers, Design the Prima transfers, for lots of my crafts that I've been making. I added more of those transfers on the bottom, on the side, and I think it already look very beautiful. Let me know, what do you think? To add more rich embellishments, I'm adding this beautiful wooden cutout. Previously, I painted with the similar colors that I've been using on my bags. And I'm also going with that golden finish just to get the vintage look and that violet metallic finish from plaid. And also on the handles, I did the same thing with the golden and the violet finish. And this furniture piece is almost done, except I added a glaze to get the seal and get a richer color to it, and that's it. Another makeover to this old white dresser. I mean, it was in a perfect shape, but I wanted to give it some nice makeover. So after I clean it well, I'm gonna sand it out a little bit, and then I'm gonna apply a ink Waverly chalk paint. I also removed the handles because I really like the handles. They're in a good shape. I didn't want it to damage them with all the paint. As I mentioned, now I'm gonna sand out before I apply the paint on it. The color and the paint that I'm using is ink Waverly chalk paint, and believe it or not, this chalk paint is so good, and I just use a little amount of the paint and cover the whole dresser with it. So now when it's all nice and dry, I'm applying another rub-on transfer from the Prima Design, the Prima, and I'm just going with the scraper and make sure the whole French letters are applying on my furniture. And I think the color with those golden words just match perfectly. If you go to Etsy store, you're gonna find some of furniture made with Redesign the Prima going for $1,500. So just a little makeover on your old furniture, the value is going higher, and it's not that it's just gonna look rich and beautiful, but the value is worth a lot, even if you like to resell some of the refurbished furniture that you made. This is just an idea for you guys. Also, the secret with those Redesign the Prima transfers are they don't need to go by the order as they come together. You can just cut off any kind of design that you like, and since this is a very large Redesign with Prima transfer, I just cut off the portion that it's gonna fit in my stand, and it's gonna look just a perfect match to it. And I have the rest of them for some other furniture or some other makeovers that I can work with. And look at this beautiness. I just love this furniture. What I did is now just the edges, not by order, just going with this golden finish and the tiny brush around so I can get more antique vintage look to it. And now I'm just putting all those hinges and the handles back, and I got $1 million looking stand. You gotta let me know, what do you think, and if I gave you some idea for you to remake over your old furniture. Now, to give the full coverage and seal to my furniture, I'm adding a furniture gloss, and with a towel I'm going over and rub it off just like so, and that's it for this makeover. As you can see, on top I got a matching planter that I made from Dollar Tree. Planters painted over with the ink paint and added one of those transfers, and just perfect. And here is my little Fiki. He came to say hi to you. And look at this beautiful vintage French country look. I'm in love with this piece. This metal old basket, we're gonna make it over. Previously was golden. Now I'm just gonna do a heavy distressing with a white chalk paint until my whole metal basket is covered, and I'm gonna use it for outdoor front look. While it's drying, we're gonna make some bouquet of flowers that we're gonna add to that basket. I got these Dollar Tree flowers, and I'm gonna create a cone first with that sheet that I got also from Dollar Tree. I'm just going around so I can make the simple cone for it, and it's gonna look like we went to some flower shop and we bought some flowers. Now that I made the cone, I'm gonna glue the edges with a hot glue so I can have a nice sturdy cone, and I think it's gonna look super cute for nice looking front porch. To make it more fancier, I'm gonna add some of those fishnet ribbons from Dollar Tree. I'm just gonna tie it, and also we're gonna make some beautiful lace burlap bow that we're gonna add it on top of that fishnet ribbon that we added. And that's it for this little makeover DIY. To make a super simple bow, I'm just rolling a couple of layers of this lace ribbon, and when it's all nice and done, I'm gonna cut off the edges. And now when I got all those rows of loops, I'm just gonna divide them by middle, and where is the middle, I'm just gonna tie them with a twine. And as you can see, we're gonna make a simple cute bow out of it. I'm just removing the longer edges so we can have nice long tails, and it's just a simple, like if you don't know how to make a bow, this is the simplest way to make a bow. And now when it's all nice and tight, we're just gonna open up the loops, and that's it for making this bow. And look how beautiful it looks in my metal basket in front of my porch. Just perfect piece. I'm using this large head box, and we're gonna make it over into something beautiful. After I remove the handles, I covered the box with a white chalk paint. Now that it's all nice and covered, we're gonna decoupage it with these Tim Holtz decoupage sheets. Super simple and easy makeover. I'm just adding a Mod Podge, and we're gonna have a nice French look of this beautiful head box that we can use it for a storage for our perfumes, for whatever we like we can cover in this box, or for our hats as well. Just a new look to this beautiful round head box. In order for your decoupage to be succeeded, you need just a little layer of Mod Podge, and not just all at once. Just go line by line and just covering it with your decoupage sheet, and just using that roller for a decoupage, and you're not even gonna have any bubble for it. I'm also covering the cap with it with the same Tim Holtz sheet. I just cut off one to add it in the middle, and then another 2 sheet papers that are gonna go on the edges to cover the whole cap with it. I truly enjoy working on decoupage decorations, and let me know if you like some decoupage crafts and decorations in your house as well. I think they're so beautiful and so unique, and I think it's gonna give more rich look to your home decor as well. Now that I covered the whole cap with it, I'm also, to seal it, adding a Mod Podge on top, and I'm also gonna add these beaded tassels that I got on clearance from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just gonna cut off some portion to add around this beautiful cap. Just adding a little embellishment to a decorative piece, it can bring such a rich look to it. And I think adding these tassels around this cap for my head box, it looks just a beautiful shabby chic vintage look. Let me know, what do you think? This thrifted old frame, I'm just gonna remove the back paper of it, and we're gonna make it our own version. I'm just gonna remove all those edges, and I'm just gonna heavy distress it with the chalk paint around the edges of the frame. And those beautiful 2 corners also, we're gonna give them a heavy distressing as well. When it's all nice and dry, I'm adding this decoupage French print sheet inside of it, and I'm gonna just add all pieces together, and that's it. Super simple and cute makeover. And I also covered the back to look nice and neat, and look how beautiful it came out. All vintage metal frames, I think it looks just perfect. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna retouch with a chalk paint, going over distressing just to bring a new look to it, and it's ready to go. If you find frames like this to a high-end store, they're going for a very high prices, but you can find pieces like this at any thrift store for only a couple of dollars. I added some florals on the sides, and I think it's just perfect look. This beautiful mini vintage planter, it was all damaged. I added some spackling to cover it and let it dry. I only paid $2 for it, and now when it's all nice and dry, I'm just gonna remove the price tag and clean it well, and we're gonna cover it with some paint and bring the new life to it. I'm gonna be adding some terracotta paint. I love those terracotta. I wish they came in a larger bottle, but all I can find they're in a small bottles, but it's worth it. And now I'm just gonna cover the whole mini vase with it. When it's all nice and covered and dry, I'm gonna be adding this navy wax, and I'm just gonna cover my baby wipe with it, and I'm just going around all those crevices that this vase came with, so we can have a nice beautiful texture and details in this beautiful mini vase. When it's all nice and done, I'm gonna be adding some floral, and that's it for this makeover. I'm gonna be using this large shadow box that I also found at thrift store just for a couple of dollars. After I clean it well, I'm gonna add some blue color for it, some of those folk art, and it's just gonna go over with a heavy distressing and going around the edges until it's all fully covered first. Now that it's all nice and dry, I'm just gonna sand it out so we can have that white color peek through it, and we can have that vintage look as well. I am also adding this navy wax just to get the seal and some richer look to this shadow box. And here is an idea how can we decorate those shadow boxes. This is for summer. We can add some fishnets and we can add some summer signs. And another look can be the vase that we just made, and also some fall book stack that I had in my crafting section that I made before. I mean, these shadow boxes, we can add anything that we like, and we can have them throughout the whole year in our house decor. Those vintage wine wooden baskets are just perfect as a decorative piece as well. This one was damaged, but I added some spackling and let it dry, and after that I'm just gonna sand it out and I'm gonna make it over. I cover it with this turquoise folk art paint. I give it 2 good coats of it. I'm also using those tiles from Dollar Tree that I'm gonna cover the middle part of my basket as well. After I cut off the piece that I needed for the middle inside, and I'm gonna use it up front and on the back. Since we have an opening like that, we're gonna use the same thing. I'm also cutting off the edges, the extra edges from the tile, to make sure that it's nice and smooth. I am repeating the same thing on the back of the box. Super simple but very cute with all those details from those tiles. I think this basket, it's gonna look so cute. Now that they're all nice and covered, I'm gonna distress them with a white chalk paint, and I'm gonna go even in the middle of the tile so we can get rid of all that sparkly silver look to the tile, and we're just gonna bring it as a vintage look. When the basket is nice and dry, I'm adding some foam, styrofoam inside of it, and we're gonna add this beautiful blue floral. I got those from Dollar Tree. I'm not sure if they're still selling them. If they do, I would love to have more because they're such a good quality. I think they had them in a yellow, blue, white maybe, or lilac color. I can't remember. I got a couple of them and they look just perfect. And I just added a couple of branches to this basket, and I'm also gonna cover it with the moss, the foam. We're gonna cover it with the moss, and we're gonna have a nice beautiful centerpiece, or we can add it to our stands, mantles, fireplaces, wherever we like, and we're gonna have a nice beautiful floral planter basket. Two wallflower carved art pieces, wall art pieces. After I clean them well, I'm gonna distress them with some folk art paint. Not too much, just a little bit, but whatever taste you have, you can spray paint them white. You can add any colors that you like to match your color home decor, and just giving just a little touch of a paint can bring those two old vintage wall art pieces to new life. These vintage old rice steam box. I got it from thrift store for only couple of dollars. After I clean it well, I'm gonna give it 2 good coats of a chalk paint to cover it all. I'm gonna leave the inside the vintage smoked look to it. I like it, and I'm just gonna use it as a decorative piece. So I'm just gonna heavy distress the top, and the rest of it I'm gonna cover it with a white chalk paint. Now that it's all nice and covered with the paint, I removed the old mini handle, and I'm gonna add this beautiful handle on top of it just for extra embellishment. I just glue it with a Gorilla Glue, and now I'm just gonna add some stencil design around the edges of this round box, adding with a sponge brush and a black chalk paint, going around those designs until I got the look that I like. And just adding some paint and some stencil details, and look how beautiful it looks. We can also add some sign if you like, but I just left it plain, and I think this piece is just gorgeous. Another metal wine basket, and this time we're gonna make it over with a cricket vinyl from Dollar Tree and turn it into a beautiful farmhouse look. So after I clean it well, I'm just going with this vinyl and make sure to see how many of these cutouts I'm gonna need, and then simple as that, I'm just adding the vinyl around this box. To apply it faster and smoother with no bubbles, I'm using this Cricut scraper. Dollar Tree is also selling those, and I'm going around the edges until my whole box is covered with it. To get rid of the extra pieces, I'm just using a cutter and cutting off the edges, and simple as that, we have a new look to this box. For extra embellishment, I'm adding this burlap ribbon in the middle, and I'm just gonna glue it. And I am also adding this gingham ribbon and creating a bow in the middle of my burlap, and that's it. We're gonna add some greeneries inside, and we have another beautiful farmhouse basket for our home decor. To make some new farmhouse signs, I'm gonna be using that vintage frame. I'm gonna be using this Highland cow printout and that tiles from Dollar Tree, but first I'm gonna remove that welcome sign that it came with this sign. And super simple, we're gonna cover the middle with these tiles. After that, I'm just cutting off my beautiful cow, and I'm just gonna glue it on top of the tile. I'm adding a glue stick. I'm gonna be also adding this Dollar Tree stencil when it says farmhouse, and with a sponge brush and a black paint, I'm going and just using the farmhouse design with those 2 branches under it from this stencil. I'm also painting the frame with a black chalk paint. And also, I don't like that wooden part peeking through, and I'm gonna be adding the vinyl cutout as well to match this sign and with my previous basket that we did. And ta-da, we have a nice beautiful farmhouse look. If you're still here, thank you so much for sticking around with these beautiful, amazing thrift flips. Next one will be this damaged vase. I mean, it was in one piece when I bought it, but by the time I bring it home, I broke it. But no problem. I'm just gonna glue that broken glass and we're gonna make it over. I'm gonna be using a cement glue from Dollar Tree to put the glasses together. And now I'm gonna cover the whole vase with a spackling. After it's all covered with the spackling, we let it dry for a couple of hours, and this is how it looks when it's all nice and dry. I'm gonna sand it out just a little bit. I like the whole texture that it came with the whole spackling coverage with it. It's got that cement ceramic look to it, and I think it's just perfect. And here is me showing you all the colors that I was planning to use on this vase, but it was a change of plan. I was going to use all those different colors from Waverly. And then first I wanted to start using the ink paint and with the sponge brush going. And as I go through the vase, using the paint, and I see all those beautiful textures coming from the spackling. I really like the look, so I left it like it is. I didn't add more colors to it, and I cover also the top and the handles with the ink paint, and I think I have such a beautiful vase. And just a little makeover from trash, we can bring something to treasure. I am in love with this vase. And here is the comparison to some Pottery Barn vases versus mine, and I only paid $2.99 for mine. I also have this vintage thrifted fleur-de-lis. It was also damaged. I glue it and cover it. And now with adding some paint to it, we're gonna bring it back to life. And with a sponge brush, I'm just dabbing to get that concrete cement look to it and get the extra beautiful look to this fleur-de-lis. And we can have a nice home decor accent with this piece. When I had it all nice and covered, I'm also gonna add some different paint to it, and with the sponge brush I'm just dabbing, and more color that we add, more beautiful look we have to our pieces. And look how beautiful it looks. It doesn't even look that it's plastic. I'm also adding this round frame piece from Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna glue my leaf on the frame, and I think it looks so cute. To make it more sturdy, I'm adding a pieces of paper and gluing them, and that's it. And here is a comparison of a Wayfair fleur-de-lis versus mine, that it only cost $3.25. Rolling pin purchased from thrift store. After I clean it well, I'm gonna paint out the handles and bring them a new life to it. After I paint them well and they're all nice and dry, I'm just gonna put them back together on my rolling pin. And also for extra decorative embellishment, I'm gonna be making some simple bows with this gingham style ribbon from Dollar Tree. I only decide to have one bow on top, not on the bottom. Also, those grilled boards, I'm gonna make them over. I only purchased them for a couple of dollars from thrift store, and we're gonna give them a new look to them, and we're gonna use them as a decorative piece. I'm gonna be adding some tape so we can paint some lines for those boards. I'm adding 3 tapes first, and the middle tape will be the one that we're gonna remove, and that's gonna be the line that we're gonna paint it. I'm also adding some tapes to the other cutting boards and making like a different line designs, vertical and horizontal lines, as you can see. And now I'm just gonna use some chalk paint. I think this is a celery or a moss, I'm not sure. And just covering that line with it. And just adding some simple line paint to this cutting board. It already looks so high-end. And look at this beautiful line. Also on my other cutting board, we're gonna add another line that it's gonna go vertically so we can have a different kind of look to our boards. I'm also, with a thicker line of a tape, I'm adding more 2 lines that they're going next to the thicker line, if that makes sense, so we can have more French look to my cutting boards. Now that I have opened the tiny lines between the longer line, if that makes sense, you saw me what I was doing, adding just a bunch of different tapes until I got the lines that I look. And look at this beautiful look. They're gonna be just perfect. Here you go, just the perfect lines. I'm also making a simple 2-lace shoe ribbon for my cutting boards, and this makeover is done. I'm also adding this stencil branch design, and I got this one from, I think, Michael's. They were on clearance, and I'm gonna add that branch on the side of one of my cutting boards just for more embellishment and more prettier look. And that's it. Also, I'm making the smaller cutting board as a riser, and I'm adding those wooden handles. I got those from Hobby Lobby. They're coming in a pack just for a few dollars, and I'm just gonna add 5 of them to make it nice and sturdy stand, riser, and such a beautiful look. I am making over this wooden holder basket, whatever you like to call it, and we're just gonna give a little touch of a paint and some texture to it. I'm gonna be adding for the drawer one of those Dollar Tree tiles, and I'm just gonna glue it in front of that drawer, and we're gonna paint it over. I didn't paint the whole basket with this chalk paint. I'm just going around the edges, and also I'm painting the tile drawer with it, just so we can have that extra vintage embellishment to it. And now I'm just gonna make some patterns using the frames around the holders, and also we're gonna make around those square shape wreaths that they're in the basket. We're gonna make a pattern with this paint. The squares doesn't need to look perfect. I'm just going around and creating a pattern, as you can see, and I'm covering whole squares on front, on the bottom, on the side. And now when they're all nice and dry, I'm using this dark wax and going all around the edges and around the basket so I can have that vintage look to it. And I'm just gonna remove it with a wipe, and I got the look that I like. I'm also making a handle for my drawer. I'm just measuring where I'm gonna drill the holes, and I think adding this handle to it, it brings such a extra look to it. And I just love this holder. We can have anything inside. We can use it as a decorative piece, or we can add some wooden pieces, some florals, some envelopes, whatever we like, and use it in our kitchen. This next couple of makeovers, I'm gonna show you how I use my French print fabric on it. On one of them, I'm gonna be using this large trunk, and after I clean it well, I remove the handles, and I'm gonna remove that whole portion material, whatever it came with this trunk. We're gonna add some nice, beautiful French print fabric to it. This trunk was so old. I think I found some calendar note card sheet from like 1950s, I believe. but I like the whole texture and all that beautiness in the shape, how it came with it. And with just a little makeover, we're gonna bring it back to life. Now, after I remove everything, I'm gonna spray and clean it very well. When it's all nice and clean, I'm covering the frames with a French linen chalk paint, and all I need painted are the frames. Now that the frames are nice and painted and dry, I'm gonna cover the rest of my trunk with this nice French print fabric, and I'm gonna glue it with a material, with a fabric glue, and I'm gonna cover the whole thing with it. It was so easy to work on those trunk. I'm just using a roller, and with my hands I'm going around the edges and make sure the whole material is nice and glued. And also I'm using one of those cutting knives, but I'm not cutting the material. With that edge of that knife, I'm just poking and adding the material behind the frames. Even if it took me a while, that material went so smoothly behind the frame, and when it's all nice and complete, it's gonna look like we got this trunk from a store exactly like with this material on it. Now when it's all complete, I added the hinges back like they were. I like that vintage look to it. And let me know, what do you think? I'm in love with this trunk, and until today it's in my bedroom. Another makeover, I'm gonna be making over this breakfast bar furniture that my troublemaker Fiki destroyed in a few months. But no worries, we're gonna make it over. We're gonna cover those stools with the same French print fabric that we use on our trunk, and they're gonna look like brand new. After I measure how much I'm gonna need to cover for my chairs, I'm gonna cut off the fabric, and simple as that, only with a staple gun, we're gonna cover the whole cushions with it. This is just an idea. Just grab any fabric. They always have it in a crafting stores, or you can order it online, whatever you prefer, and just use a staple gun, and you can make over your old furniture that it was ready for trash before. I did the same cover on my two smaller cushions for my two smaller chairs that I have on the side of my breakfast bar. And simple as that, we have a new makeover on our breakfast bar. We came to number 27. This is just a large old jar. You can even have this in your house, or you can find those jars at a thrift store just for a few cents. And all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make a nice ribbon around and add it in the middle of my jar and create a beautiful nice vase. So what I did first, with my scissors, I made some design, zigzag design on that ribbon, and also I'm gonna be adding one of those lace ribbon around it. And just a simple touch to it is gonna bring such a high-end French country look to it. I have also added these bee cutouts from Dollar Tree and connecting it all together with the twine, and I think this jar looks so perfect. For more embellishment, I just add some 6 wooden beads, and I think adding some embellishment extra, it's gonna look every decorative piece more high-end look. I have also added this hexagon wooden cutout piece from Dollar Tree and added the bee cutout in the middle and just distress it, and we're gonna add this piece inside of our jar just for extra embellishment, and together with our floral it looks so beautiful. Making some nice vintage books stacks as a decorative piece and adding some fabric as a covers to those books is just give that extra look for our home decor. So I'm using those French fabric material that I use on one of the book stack, vintage book stack that I got from thrift store. On other book, I'm gonna be adding some burlap fabric and a linen fabric, and I'm gonna put them all together, adding some lace ribbons to it, adding some beads, and that piece is gonna look just as perfect as a home decorative piece. For extra embellishment, I added this bee beaded garland, and I added that black bee on the back of it from Dollar Tree, and I think it's just a beautiful decorative piece. This vintage thrifted item, I only pay a couple of dollars for it, and I'm gonna make it over and we can have it as our wall art piece throughout the whole year. After I clean it well and remove the handle, I'm gonna give 2 good coats of a black chalk paint to cover this whole color with it. When it's nice and dry, now I'm gonna add some white chalk paint to it. And with this piece, I show you something very old and worn out. We make it looks like brand new and bring it back to life. Adding this extra embellishment with this Le Jardin IOD transfer is just a perfect touch for these wall scones. I have also distressed it just a little bit so we can have that black paint peek through and we can have that vintage look to it. And we're gonna add some greeneries inside, and this piece is gonna look so cute. To seal it, I also added a soft touch top coat for it. And now I'm just adding some greeneries that I got in my crafting stash, and that's it. Another makeover on a tray. I'm gonna be covering this tray with a Dixie Belle just a little bit. We're not gonna cover it all because I like the whole vintage look with it, so we're just gonna do a heavy distressing to this vintage tray. Now when it's all nice and dry, I'm gonna be adding another redesigned the Prima transfer, and I think this print is just perfect and meant for this round oval tray. And of course, I always have to seal it and protect it, my work pieces that I'm doing. I'm adding a wax to it, and with a brush, I'm just going over, or a glaze, whatever you got to protect your pieces with it. And with a brush and a wipe, I'm going to cover the whole thing with it. Another vintage wall pocket, metal wall pocket, just purchased for a couple of dollars. And after a good coat of paints, we also gonna add one of those new redesigned transfer and adding some florals, and we're gonna bring it back to life. I always seal it with a glaze as well, and look at this beautiful look. Perfect, not just for spring and Easter, as an everyday summer decor look too. We came to number 32. I found this vintage beautiful holder, just a perfect decorative piece. All I do is just heavy distressing it with a Dixie Belle paint, and with my distressing brush going over and around those crevices from this mini holder, and we're gonna bring it back to life. We can use it as a candy holder, or we can just use it as a decorative piece on our mantel. And of course, when it's all nice and dry, I'm just sealing it with a glaze, and this piece is already looking so beautiful. Makeover on this large vintage frame. After I remove the back part of it and the inside of the part, I'm gonna be working on those wall sconces inside. With a distressing brush, I'm just gonna go around all those embellishments that those engraved pieces have. They're so beautiful, but adding that Dixie Belle paint through it and just making that old paint look peeking through, I think it brings such a extra look. To give a new makeover, I'm gonna cover it with the burlap material fabric around those frames. And what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna measure where my frames are before I cut off that burlap material on it. I have also removed the frames so easily I can add the burlap material to it. So I just cut off the edges of the frames and I'm gonna put them back together like they were. Next, I'm adding the burlap to my frame and also adding those mini frames around the openings. And we're gonna add all pieces together as they were, except this is a updated look to this vintage frame. To match my inside, also I'm distressing the frame with the same Dixie Belle paint, and I'm just heavy distressing the edges, and also I added some glaze to seal it, and here how it looks. We're making over this silver tray. After I clean it well, I'm giving 2 good coats of this Dixie Belle pink paint. And when it's all nice and dry and covered, I'm adding redesign with Prima transfers. And we have a nice look to this tray as a decorative piece. I am sealing it with a clear wax or a glaze, and this piece is done. Another makeover to an old vintage frame. After I removed the back part of it, I didn't want it to destroy it because it's just perfect. I want to remove the middle frame so I can make it over. After I remove the paint, I give just a one good coat of a chalk white paint. Doesn't need to be perfect. I also cover the frame, and the reason it's because we're gonna cover it with this burlap fabric, and having that white paint on the back of it, it looks just perfect for this makeover. After the burlap ribbon is inside, nice and glued, I also painted the middle frame with a white chalk paint, except I have it distressed. And now I'm going to see which of those IOD transfers to add them, and I think this May IOD transfer just perfect for this frame. I'm also with a wet tile going around the frame and just making some peeking through from my old paint and adding a glaze, and this is how it looks. We came to number 36. I am gonna make over these candle holders or a vase, whatever you like to call it, heavy distressing it with a pink Dixie Belle paint, and until the whole piece is covered with all that paint, I'm going around with it. Super simple makeover, but we made something from old to new, and all together look how beautiful they look with the floral, just perfect. Another makeover, I'm just using a music note sheet and adding it to this vintage frame. Also to that music note sheet, I'm adding IOD transfer. As you can see, I use so many rub-on transfers to those flips, and look at the difference. Adding just a little piece, it brings such a high-end look. At least I think so. Let me know what do you think, and if you're liking my IOD or redesign with Prima transfers. I am also adding one of those crosses cutouts from Dollar Tree. I'm gonna glue it on top of one of those flowers, and that makeover, I'm also distressing it so it can be more visual, and just adding a little piece to it. It brings such a beautiful look as a wall art piece. After I clean it well, this wooden box, I'm gonna remove the prices, and it looks like it had a cap, but that part was missing. So now I'm just gonna make it over with adding those half wooden beads around the edges, and where the hinges were, I just added the small wooden pieces to make it all leveled up. And now I'm gluing those half wooden beads around it, and we're gonna paint it with a sage or moss chalk paint. Give it a 2 good paints of it, and we're gonna have a new makeover to this box. I have also added a wax for sealing and for protection, and here is an idea how can we use this decorative piece. Another beautiful decoupage art piece, I'm using this large frame from Thrift store, and I'm gonna be adding one of those large beautiful decoupage bird sheets. But before that, we're gonna paint it over with a white chalk paint and give it a one good coat of it. when the paint is dry on our frame, we're gonna add those beautiful bird decoupage sheets. I got this from My Victorian Heart last year, and just adding a layer by layer, line by line, Mod Podge, we're gonna add this beautiful sheet to our frame. As I mentioned before, a perfect decoupage can be made just from a little layer of Mod Podge and slowly adding the decoupage sheet on top of it and just rubbing it off with the roller and your fingers. Your fingers needs to be dry when we adding those. Make sure your hands didn't touch the Mod Podge, because that's how a lot of people makes mistake when their hands are wet with the Mod Podge, and the whole decoupage sheet is gonna be ruined. So as I say, with one hand you using the brush, adding the Mod Podge, and with another hand you just going over around the decoupage sheet until the whole frame is covered with it. And now when it's all nice and done, to seal it, we're adding a Mod Podge on top of the decoupage sheet, and this art piece is done. Let me know, what do you think? And my darlings, if you're still here, you're a true rock star. We came to the last DIY, another makeover to this Canva. And even if we have a beautiful nice Canva material on this, but I keep it safe for my Christmas decor and coming with the lightning, I needed this beautiful vintage arch frame to make it over and have it as a wall art piece throughout the whole year in my house. So now that I have saved the Canva material, all I'm gonna do is adding these weaving reed pieces and creating a nice design to my arch window. I added 2 on the side, 1 in the middle, and then we're gonna have 2 as a crisscross on the second frame portion. You're gonna watch me as I'm doing this, and I'm gonna be using a staple gun to connect them all together. After I added those weaving reeds and I got the look that I like, also for extra embellishment, I added some wooden cutouts on top, on the bottom, on the side, and I painted this frame with a white or ivory chalk paint. Give it a 2 good coats. And also I'm gonna distress them with a black chalk paint just so we can have that beautiful embellishment peeking through. And I think this arch window just look perfect. I wish I could find two so I can have two of them, and they're gonna look just perfect as a decorative piece in our home decor. And as a bonus, I'm just showing you making over this metal bronze vase. I just give it a 2 good coat of a cement folk art and a linen folk art paint, I'm not sure. And with a sponge brush, I just went over and covered the whole vase with it and bring the new look to this vase. I hope you enjoy every single piece of this video today, mega video. I hope you enjoy watching it, and I hope I give you lots of inspirations for you to bring something back to life and make it a beautiful decorative piece. And until next time, my darlings, I'm sending you lots of love, lots of music, positive energy from me to you. Blessings. Bye-bye.